For Yah righteousness, Jerusalem, and the holy seed. Peace to everybody today on the Sabbath day, March 8th, 2014, to our national audience and international audience. I hope everybody heard the session, and we saw that, powers that be were attacking the session from the outset. When you heard the, the intermissions, the halting, the silence that sometimes lasted for, sometimes it seemed like maybe 45, 50 seconds. That's them attacking the message. Sometimes when it came back, you didn't hear exactly what I was saying, or, certain particular point that I was making. But the ones of you who've been in the room for the whole session or most of the session, if you have any questions, have them ready, and focus in, now in the Q&A, and don't do a lot of chatterboxing back and forth, okay? And as usual, I'm going to tell you about these shows that we're on Democracy Now! The 4th, the 5th, and the 6th, just this past week of March 2014. 4th, 5th, and 6th. You get a chance, you should, go and check those out. And also, there's a couple of things that I heard that I made a mistake on. I mentioned Ezekiel 18th chapter. I meant Jeremiah 18 when it's talking about Yah's the potter and we're the clay. Also, Jeremiah chapter 7 in regards to, in the session, for those of you who heard most of the session, I mentioned about Shiloh early on in the session, and I think I said Jeremiah chapter 31, but it's Jeremiah chapter 7 in regards to Shiloh, when Yah said, go and see where he placed his name at the first, in Shiloh, and see what he did to Shiloh, and that was in regards to a person who had asked me about Shiloh and what part it played, and as I told that person, if I had understood Genesis chapter 49 when I first read it, when I got to 1 Samuel, and where the people asked for a king and Yah chose Saul, and Saul was out of the tribe of Benjamin, I would have known immediately that Saul was not going to last if I had understood the 49th chapter of Genesis, because that's where it states about how the scepter would not depart from between the feet of Yahudah until Shiloh came, because Yahudah was given the rulership of the nation of Israel in regards to when the blessing that generally the double portion, should I say, that resides with the firstborn was taken from Reuben, and for what Reuben had done in defiling his father's couch, and then what Simeon and Levi had done in wiping out the seed of the Shechemites, per se. Then the rulership fell upon Yahudah. Yaakov, Israel gave the rulership to Yahudah, but he gave the double blessing to Yahosef, he who was separated from his brethren. And that's again in chapter 48, Genesis. He gave Yahosef a double portion. That's why we got 13 tribes of Israel and not 12. You'll see that in 48th chapter of Ezekiel. And again, as always, this is for Yah, righteousness, Jerusalem, and the Holy See. Also, I made I was talking about the babies, the abortions, and I said incendiary. They were incinerated. These abortions, most of them generally are incinerated. Some are used for, with the medical industrial complex uses some of these fetuses for experimentation. That's how demonic they are. When I was listening to the session, and again in reference to different ones who say that's not Jerusalem over there because they're, it's supposed to be desolate, right? I pretty much covered it, but this also came to my attention in Yeshaya chapter 30, verse 25. You'll see there where Yah says that the towers would fall. And if you really read that chapter, it's talking about what still has not taken place yet. And it's basically what we're waiting on right now, right? It's for Yah to suddenly run out the descendants of Esau, the hypocrites, into their own land and judge them. And you see that's when those towers are going to fall. Because as I've spoken of in the past, the wall that they're building over there separating our brethren, the so-called Palestinians, and at the same time confiscating much of their land, and they're building this wall continually over in Jerusalem. Every so many feet, that wall has a tower in it, where you have, soldiers up in the tower, with their weapons and their, cameras and, seeing devices and whatnot, right? So when you see there in Yeshaya chapter 30 where it says the towers shall fall, I'm bringing that up again, and when different brothers, just from a lack of understanding, think that's when they see that Jerusalem was going to be desolate, it's not talking about desolation in the sense where you won't have anything actually in Jerusalem or anybody, okay? Because again, this is what it's referring to there in Yeshaya 30, verse 25. And as I said, when you read the chapter, it's talking about, it starts out in the past, but then it comes all the way up into present day, into the present, the future tense, which is right upon us. It's not far off from happening. I've got just a couple of articles here. This Chicago Sun-Times, March the 2nd, it's a article here, pistols in the pews, because a lot of people now, they want to carry pistols. And they've got this Reverend Corey Respondick. He poses with a Ruger handgun at his Living Water Church in Cahokia, Illinois, just east of St. Louis. He's standing there with the cross behind him on the wall, and he's got a Ruger handgun in his hand. Okay, he's the Reverend. Okay, so you're getting a lot of people now who, they want to carry these guns, and as this this Corey Respondick, he's a Gentile. He says, we believe in the protection of Jesus Christ, but we also understand that we live in an evil world and we feel that it's in our best interest to allow handguns in the event someone is wanting to do harm to our congregation, right? So again, Daniel chapter 11, right? What does it say? In their stronghold, they shall worship the God of forces. What that verse 38? But in his estate he shall honor the God of forces. Okay, so weaponry, right? So that's what they claim that their God, their Jesus is going to help them, but they're going to their guns now. And here's another one. This is out of Chicago Tribune, March the 5th. A judge blocked $9.5 billion ruling against Chevron in Ecuador. Some of you might have heard about that. Chevron has greatly polluted the land of Ecuador, drilling for the oil and whatnot, and they've just horribly polluted the country. And so the Ecuadorians filed this suit against Chevron, big oil producer, right? The initial ruling was that Chevron had to pay $9.5 billion to the Ecuadorian people, to the country, because they have greatly destroyed the Amazon rainforest, right? But now Chevron, they filed an appeal, and this district judge, Lewis Kaplan in Manhattan, New York, ruled past Tuesday, okay, or rather Tuesday, that the 2011 judgment, because they got the initial ruling in 2011, but this Kaplan sounds like Edomite to me, right? Lewis Kaplan, judge, he ruled on the appeal, he ruled in favor of Chevron. Okay, so now the Ecuadorian people have filed another appeal, so they got them all hung up in the court, right? But initially it was done by Texaco, but Chevron bought Texaco. Okay, so it's the same people, shifting from left hand to the right hand to the left. And because the initial judge ruled, he slapped the $18 billion judgment against Chevron. Okay, and in a later ruling, the verdict was upheld, but the judgment was reduced to almost half of the 18 original billion, to $9.5 billion. Now they didn't got it totally nullified. So, it's just like what they run and control the government, because they are the government, right? Esau, the illuminated Edomite, with his oil companies and whatnot, and more than likely, again, the only way, as we've spoken of and I've touched on this session that you just heard, for those of you who heard it, and those of you who will hear it, the only way we're going to get this world and this earth cleansed of its contamination and pollution, we've got to go to Yah. Simple as that. And get this, we got to turn to Yah, submit and obey, and then Yah brings it into action as he's doing, bringing forth his judgment on the inhabitants of the earth, making his judgment rest for a light to the people, Yeshaya chapter 51, and get this temple built and those sacrifices on. And that's when he's going to bring forth the fountain for uncleanness. And again, I said, also it just popped into my mind, I said Zechariah chapter 12 about this fountain for uncleanness. Really it's Zechariah chapter 13 verse 1, right? And that's the same fountain in Zechariah 13:1 as you'll see in Yoel chapter 3, and as you see the healing waters in Ezekiel chapter 47. All that's talking about those healing waters that come from the side of the temple. And again, that's when Yah's going to start to create a new heavens and a new earth. And those of us who turn to Yah, whether you be a descendant of Israel, a Gentile, a Hamite, a Shemite, If you're acceptable in the sight of Yah, if you turn to Yah and you're totally committed to Yah, then He will start to cleanse your blood that has not been cleansed. But you turn, you must submit, you must obey. Okay, simple as that. Also, Chicago Sun-Times, March 6th. Okay, you know, quite naturally, I know many of you have been watching that situation in Ukraine, and it says, you know, Russia and the West, right? The Illuminati Edomite in the West, Illuminati Edomite over in Russia. They're trying to hammer out a solution to the problems, you know, because they've been talking in the last few days about how, you know, the West, you know, talking about they're going to put sanctions on Russia, right? But many of the analysts say, you know, there's no way that the West can put sanctions on Russia because it'd be of none effect, because many of these centralized nations in Europe, as well as some of the Western countries, you know, they deal with Russia. Okay, Germany and whatnot, they deal with Russia. They've got a situation where, you know, they trade goods and they are connected economically. So, you know, sanctions would have none effect upon Russia. Okay, so that's just a waste of time. That's just them talking, you see. And here's another article about you got a coal firm to pay record fine for water pollution. This is out of Washington. One of the nation's largest coal producers will pay $27.5 million fines and spend $200 million to reduce illegal toxic discharges into hundreds of waterways across 5 Appalachian states. Okay, according to a proposed settlement Wednesday. The agreement includes the largest fine ever for violations of water pollution permits. Okay, so you see what's going on here in America. It's, you know, pollution everywhere, and this fracking is playing a big part in that. You know, and this is out of Caracas, Venezuela. They had the you know, anniversary for Hugo Chavez. You know, it's a year that he passed here, you know, the 6th of this month, day before yesterday, today's the 8th. But, you know, I know many of you are seeing what's going on in Venezuela. Like I said in this session, you know, Illuminati Edomite is putting a chokehold. You know, this Illuminati Edomite that controls Germany, England, you know, France, America. He's got a chokehold on the South American countries, just like you see here with what I just read about Ecuador and how they've gotten that fine reversed. Okay, first they got it cut almost in half, $18 billion down to $9.5 billion. Now they've gotten it nullified so far totally. The Ecuadorians, is, you know, they got an appeal going, but it's all tied up in the courthouse. But they got a chokehold on these South American countries, and they got a chokehold, you know, on Venezuela. They are, you know, causing massive inflation in Venezuelan currency. But at the same time, you know, they've been sending money down to the sellouts in Venezuela, and this is what they do, just what they're doing over in the Ukraine. You know, they've got agents planted, and they send them X amount of money to persuade and to coerce the people in the country to come over to them, to their side. And again, unless people have a firm understanding and commitment to truth, to being in opposition to the powers that be, if a person or people don't truly understand who they're fighting and why they're fighting and what they're fighting for, then they can be coerced. You know, they can be cajoled. Hold on. Yeah, righteousness, peace. We're in the middle of a session. All right. But again, if people don't truly understand why and who and what they're fighting for, they will be coerced and bumped off the path. And this is what you see in Ukraine is taking place. This is what you're seeing going on in Venezuela. The sellouts and, those who the sellouts can persuade and induce into turning against the government led by this Maduro who took Hugo Chavez's place, you understand, who's standing up against the powers that be. They're persuading people, because the chokehold is on, and the people, their stomach is growling, right? They're facing massive inflation, and everything is costing more. And so now when people get put in a situation like this, they lack understanding, they lack fortitude from a lack of sight, so they fall away. They're coerced into turning against their own government and those of their government who are standing up against the powers that be. And that's what you see going on in Venezuela and in the Ukraine, and it's happening in other places as well. But now, just like in places like Greece, as I spoke about in this session, France, you are getting people in these nations who know that it's the bankers that are causing, this economic collapse. And in actuality, it's Yah, but they don't see Yah yet, right? They're just looking at the human beings that Yah is working through. And again, you can just go to that one chapter of Banya, right? I touched on it in this section. I didn't go into it per se, but when you're aware, you're versed in that one chapter of Banya, what does Yah say? I've made thee small. He's talking about the Edomites, right? I've made thee small amongst the Gentile, thou art greatly despised. And now you're seeing that because you got a lot of people, definitely a lot of Gentiles, the bankers controlling the banking system, and they know that they control the Bank of International Settlements, the International Monetary Fund. They're starting to disrupt. Yeah, that figures. Okay, but nevertheless, can you hear me out there? If you can hear me, put one up. Okay, but they know that in these nations, many people know that these bankers are controlling the economic system. Like I said, the Bank of International Settlements, the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF, and the World Bank, right? And the EU, they control all these governments per se, right? The ones, like I just said, that are outlawed to them, who's standing up against them, they're attacking. But everybody's being attacked now. But nevertheless, you see in France, you see in Greece, these people, as I mentioned about the Ukraine, many people over there are attacking the Edomites that live in these nations, these countries, because they know it's the bankers. See? Similar in a way to what if you know the history, what happened in Germany in the time of Hitler. You follow me? They understood that it was the Jews, the bankers, okay? And so that's why they started rounding them up and putting them in concentration camps because they just were attacking the descendants of Esau. Okay, and again, this is what? This is Ezekiel chapter 35, right? When Yah says that because of what the descendants of Esau did against the children of Israel, they had not hated blood. Yah said he would prepare them unto blood, and blood would and should and shall pursue them. And that's what we're witnessing. See, it's coming around again. But now it's coming around into a finality. Again, because Yah is in the process of pulling all of the covers off of everything that's been hid and done in the dark. See? Again, like Yah says in Yeshaya chapter 47, talking about the daughter of Babylon, United States of America, and the Illuminati Edomite, the Skull and Bone Boys, who are the secondary chiefs for the Illuminati Edomite here. And what did he say? He's not going to meet them as a man, because he's he who creates. So again, what does it say? Cross over the rivers, come sit in the dust, O virgin daughter, let down thy locks, uncover the leg, make bare the thigh. He's going to expose the Illuminati Edomite, the daughter of Babylon, United States of America, and now everything and everybody's being exposed for who and what they are. Nobody can hide. Nothing can be hid anymore. Everything is being brought to the surface. And again, I direct you to the one chapter of the Bible. Right? What did y'all say? How are Esau's hidden things, secret things sought up and searched out? See? And that's what we've been doing from day one. Like y'all said, the servant says in was that chapter 48, Yeshaya? Wait a minute, I'll read it to you verbatim. Chapter 48, Yeshaya, the servant is talking, and verse 16, come ye near unto me, hear ye this, I have not spoken in secret from the beginning, from the time that it was. There am I, and now Yah, or should I say the Lord Yah, and his spirit hath sent me. Okay, so these things are being brought out more and more and more, making things plain. And this is Yah doing it again through his arm. Yeshaya chapter 59. What does it say? I mentioned it in this session that you just heard, for those of you who heard it, right? And those of you who will hear it. What does it say in 59, Yeshaya? Yah said he looked up front and he saw that he that departed, or those that departed from evil, became a prey to the wicked, and it displeased him. Because he saw if he allowed this, there would be no man, there would be no intercessor. So his arm, right, descendants of Jerusalem, brought salvation unto him. And his righteousness sustained him or them. Right? You put on that breastplate of righteousness, that's Yah's word, right? With his commandments, his laws, his statutes, his ordinances, his judgments, his precepts, the testimonies of those who have preceded us, and the testimony of those today. Right? Chapter 55, Yeshaya, I've given him for a witness. That's testimony, right? A leader and a commander to the people. Okay? So again, his arm, the Jerusalem movement, and Yah brings his illumination through. Okay, and here in this same paper, Chicago Sun-Times, March 6, it says the Edomite says rockets, they claim that they got some rockets that were bound for Gaza. Some of you might have heard this on the news. It came out, the Hamas and our brothers, the so-called Palestinians, and Iran have totally refuted this charge that the Edomites claim that they seized a ship laden with rockets allegedly bound for militants in the Gaza Strip. It says, and officials accused Iran of orchestrating the delivery in an elaborate 5,000-mile journey that included covert stops across the region. See? And again, this is Esau's nonsense that he constantly comes up with, accusing people, making accusations, right? Always with the accusations, right? Just like you see the accusation that was made against Zerubbabel and them, by Esau and the Ishmaelites who was with him and whoever else was with him, right? In Ezra chapter 4, once they got rejected from trying to participate in the building of the second temple. Ezra chapter 4, right? When they got rejected, they sent an accusation. They wrote an accusation and had it sent to Cyrus, right? That's the accusation that when Cyrus received it and it was read to him in Daniel chapter 10, that we've talked about not long ago, a few months back, right? Last year, where in that chapter 10, Daniel, when it says, the angel came to Daniel when Daniel started, because he heard that accusation at the same time that Cyrus heard it, because again, he was more likely, he was a man of high degree, he was in the court of Cyrus, right? And so when it was read to Cyrus, Daniel heard it. So Cyrus went into deliberation about it, and Daniel started afflicting his soul for those same 3 full weeks in chapter 10 Daniel, where he didn't eat any pleasant bread, right? He ate no flesh, right? He drank no wine, because he was afflicting his soul. He didn't even wash for 3 full weeks. And again, in that chapter 10, as we talked about a few months back, that Esau tampered with that, because it said initially why Daniel was afflicting his soul. Well, they took that out, right? In the same chapter 10, where it says the angel told Daniel that the prince of Persia withstood him 1 and 20 days. That's the same 3 weeks Daniel was afflicting his soul, right? Then it mentions about the kings of Persia. The angel said he was there with the kings of Persia. Well, the Illuminati Edomite tampered with that, and he put an S behind king. It should be singular, because the king and the prince there in chapter 10 is the same person. But he's trying to confuse us, right? Because it's talking about Cyrus. And the angel said that Cyrus withstood him 21 days or 3 weeks. Because Cyrus, his whole desire was to build the temple, right, of Yah, to get it built. Just like he says in first chapter of Ezra. He said, Yah of hosts, who is the strong one, who is the God in Jerusalem, has raised me up to build him a house in Jerusalem. See, so the angel that was sent to Daniel tells him that, you understand, Cyrus, he was working on Cyrus, you understand? But Cyrus withstood him for 21 days, 3 weeks, because he didn't want to issue the stop order. Okay, we've talked about this, like I said, about 4 or 5 months ago. You understand? And so that's what Esau has done in attacking this word and changing, putting the S behind king and making it plural, just like he put an S behind father in Malachi chapter 4 and made it plural, and it should be singular because it's talking about, see, and these are some of the things that I touched on in this session. That's why when people call here or people, direct our attention something on the internet where brothers or sisters or whoever they may be, or Gentiles or Edomites, come up with these different claims about, that's not Jerusalem. Jerusalem's supposed to be desolate without man or beast or any kind of edifices or monuments, what have you. That's not true. You see, that's not meaning that. See, but they just don't see it. They don't understand it, you see. Just like I just pointed out about the towers in chapter 30, was that 30 Yeshaya, right? You understand, where the towers are going to fall. So what are these towers? Again, that's the walls, that is mentioned over in Zechariah. When Yah says, we put that in the flyer, where Jerusalem is going to be a town without walls. Doesn't it say that over in Zechariah? It'll be a town without walls. You see? But so that's implying what? There are walls there now, right? And we can see that, can't we? Okay? But again, when this Jerusalem movement, when the Edomites get run out, it's a good possibility before the Jerusalem movement even returns. Should I say, when Yah returns to Jerusalem on the head of his movement, right? Yeshaya chapter 52. Before his movement even gets there, once our brothers and sisters, per se our brothers, you understand, of the house of Yahoseph, I'm in Obadiah, right? The house of Yahoseph foreflame, that Yah is going to bring on those Edomites to drive them out and destroy them in their land, south of the Dead Sea, going toward Egypt. Before this Jerusalem movement is even brought back by Yah, exactly, that those walls that are there, that wall that's in Jerusalem, will start to be torn down by our brothers. You understand, the so-called Palestinians. See? So, and whatever other walls there eventually are going to be brought down. Just like all the idols and the images are going to be destroyed. And they won't be destroyed till the Jerusalem movement is brought back. Because again, that's our first order of business. See, so, when people say they seize upon this word desolate, and they want to make Jerusalem be without any inhabitant, you follow me? Any kind of, buildings or what have you, just know that they don't understand this book. Okay? Simple as that. And here's an article here about this Edomite. He passed at 59. He's with that group called the Lubavitch group, right? And he was here in Illinois, right outside of Chicago. He was based basically here. He got a big picture of him, a big article about him. 59 years old. He died from having a procedure for gallbladder. He had a gallbladder operation, and when they put him under, he never awakened. He died. 59 years old. He was well known amongst the Edomites. He's got his, big beard and black hat. Them people, those Edomites that's hooked into that Lubavitch, they wear the black attire, the black hats and the black coats and whatnot. We see him around here in Chicago. I know the times that y'all and I have been in New York a number of times. We've seen many of them walking up and down the street. But in the article, I'm going to read you just this, what it says. It says, the Lubavitch community is a branch of Hasidism. Has roots in 18th century Russia. Hasidism emphasizes the worship of God, wisdom, love of others, self-worth, and happiness. It includes elements of Jewish mysticism or Kabbalah. So, that's all Esau stuff. Are they messing with that? Okay. Okay, can you hear me now? If you can hear me, let me know. Cutting in and out, they still messing with it, right? I know I figured you can hear me now, but again, this his name was Rabbi Daniel Moskowitz. Okay? Born 1954, and he just died, 59 years old. Okay? Big picture of him. And again, these Lubavitches, Ubavitch, Lubavitch. Okay, big group, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'll read this again, maybe y'all let it get through. The Lubavitch community is a branch of Hasidism which has roots in 18th century Russia. Hasidism emphasizes the worship of God, wisdom, love of others, self-worth, and happiness. It includes elements of Jewish mysticism or Kabbalah. Hold on. Disregard that.
Call from toll-free panel.
Okay. Now, again, you know, this is just gives you insight how they're not about Yah. They're into their own stuff. You know, this Hasidism, I guess that's how you know, Hasidism. All right? And again, you know, they're into their mysticism and their nonsense. This is a form of Judaism, right? And they're into their stuff. They're not about Yah. Okay? And dead at 59, right? From a gallbladder operation.
Security cam for more information.
So now, here's another article here, March 6th, Chicago Sun-Times. This is this you might have heard in the last session that just played. Right at the end, I was talking about this person who writes for the Chicago Sun-Times. She's one of us. Her name is Mary Mitchell, and she's got this article about a travesty that 7 Dems nixed civil rights nominee. Okay, a travesty that 7 Democrats nixed civil rights nominee. Now, those of you possibly out there, when you look at the show that just came on, the last one on Democracy Now! That I mentioned was the 6th, which was Thursday. Okay, you probably heard about this one of us, right? No sound. Can you hear me? Can you hear me out there? If you can hear me, let me know. Okay. Now, you probably heard about, like I said, when you watch that Democracy Now! On the 6th, they talked about it. How this, one of us, Debo Adegbali, right? He's a lawyer. He represented Mumia Abu Jamal in Abu Jamal's case, right? Adegbali he's being punished, okay, for representing this Abu Jamal, okay, in his case for, you know, he's been incarcerated now for 30 years, Abu Jamal, for supposedly killing this policeman in Philadelphia. But, you know, the evidence against Abu Jamal very, 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 very shaky. There really is no evidence. They even, you know, have said that it's people who, you know, it was an eyewitness on the scene that said that Abu Jamal did not do the shooting, okay? But nevertheless, right, he's been incarcerated now for 30 years. You know, they just recently, here the other year, took him off of death row. But this Debo Adegbali, he represented him, and so now he's been picked by Obama to, says he was nominated, okay, by Obama to head the, what is he, the office, let me see, let me get this, I know many of you probably heard about it, some government office, right? Okay, Justice Department of the Civil Rights Division, okay? And you know, they came out and nullified this nomination, 7 Democrats joined these Republicans to nullify, you understand, this nomination of this Adegbile. So, the point again is, and this, Adegbile, he's played a major role in the NAACP legal team. Okay, again, that defended Abu Jamal, but again, you understand, he's a lawyer, so he can't defend somebody accused of, doing something. He can't defend him. That's his job, right? And he wasn't even the main lawyer. He was just part of the defense team. Okay? And some of you not getting any sound? Well, they're going to mess with it. You know that, right? But again, the point being is that this Adegbile Adegbile, he's one of us. He's an Israelite.
His father's Nigerian.
Oh, okay. So y'all is telling me that this Adegbile Adegbile, his father's a Nigerian. But even though he's a Nigerian, he still could be an Israelite. But the point being is, he represented an Israelite, because I have no doubt, unequivocally, that Mumia Abu Jamal is an Israelite. Okay? But the point being is, he's hooked in with the NAACP for years. He's on the legal team. He's representing different ones of us who are political prisoners, right? And they don't like it. You follow me? So just like I said on this session, these people who attack those of us who are about Yah, and who tell us we don't know what we're talking about, you understand, this book of remembrance is spookism. What is their solution? Huh? What is their solution? Like I just told you about the brainiac, right? The psychologist with his degree that called me and castigated me, right? That's okay. I mean, that don't bother me, but I'm just saying, you get people like this, and this is what this Adegbile Adegbile is. I'm not saying anything negative about him, but he's got his degrees, he's got his law degree, right? But look how they dealing with him, right? Just because he represented, like I said, without a doubt, Mumia Abu Jamal, I know he's an Israelite. You understand? Been incarcerated 30 years on some flim-flam evidence for killing a Philadelphia policeman. It reminds me of the same situation with the ex-boxer Reuben Hurricane Carter. See, some of you might have seen that movie, The Hurricane, that Denzel Washington played Reuben Hurricane Carter. Well, that's a real story. You follow me? A true story. I've seen that movie. I lived it. I remember when Reuben Hurricane Carter was boxing. I used to see him boxing when I was, a teenager. You follow what I'm saying? And how he got locked up in Philadelphia on some flim-flam evidence, just like this Mumia Abu Jamal. And finally, after years of being incarcerated, like he was incarcerated like almost 30 years, you follow me? He finally got out. When they finally, you understand, got the evidence to a federal judge to look at his case. You see what I'm saying? And was able to amass enough information to where they could see he had been railroaded. I'm talking about Reuben Hurricane Carter. You understand? Now, the same thing's basically with this Mumia Abu Jamal. So this Adegbile Adegbile, you understand? He's a lawyer. So now they castigating him. You follow what I'm saying? They're attacking him to keep him from this nomination. You follow what I'm saying? For the Department of Civil Rights. Okay? Because I know many of you out there, you know what's going on with that, right? You understand? They signed that Civil Rights Bill back, what was it, in the 60s? They signed the Voting Rights Act back there in the 60s. That stuff is all, you understand? They had a time limit on it, okay? So now they changing all of this about this voting stuff. They've given the voting, you understand, over to under the auspices of each state individually. So now these states are attacking the Voting Rights Act in their state, you understand, to manipulate that to shut out Israelites and Latinos again, like it was back before they had the Civil Rights Bill passed. the Voting Right Act bill passed. You understand what I'm saying? So again, this thing is in regression. Now, you gonna tell me this is not from Yah? Huh? Again, he's showing us we don't have any way out but him. That's my point. He's the only answer. See? This Degbo Adewale and all the rest of these Israelites, you understand, if he's one or not, but you got plenty of these Israelites, you understand what I'm saying? Just like I said in this session that just played, right? Since Reconstruction, you've only had 7 Israelite senators, okay? That's a good old boys club. And none of them were able to do anything of significance when they were senator. Because I remember when Kara Mosley Brown out of Chicago here was senator, you understand, she did one term and they just attacked her the whole time. You understand, this last one that, you understand, when the ex-governor here, Blagojevich, he put in this Roland Barris for the last, what was it, I think the last 2 years or the last year and a half of Barack Obama's session with Barack Obama, when Esau took him and made him president. Now this Roland Barris, Blagojevich, before they locked him up for 14 years, for trying to do a few things for us and attacking, you understand, the bank, you understand, this major bank, the name of the bank escapes me right now, but I've spoken of it in the past where, you understand, the reason why they locked up Blagojevich, because this bank that was this window company here in Chicago was hooked up with, this bank they had along with this bank. This bank basically had secured the power over this window company, and they closed it down per se and put all these people out of work. And these people didn't even get any kind of notice. They didn't get any kind of monies. You follow what I'm saying, for being knocked out of their job. And Blagojevich made the statement that the state of Illinois would not do any business with this particular bank. You follow what I'm saying? I think it was Bank of America. He wasn't going to do any business with that bank. When he said that, the FBI was at his house that next morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, calling him on the phone, telling him he was under arrest. He thought it was a joke. All right? But the deal was, when he said that the state of Illinois would not do any business with Bank of America until they made good this situation with these people who have been put out of work, many Latinos who work for this window company, you understand, they immediately went and attacked Blagojevich and arrested him supposedly for talking about how he was going to sell that Senate seat. He hadn't done it. They're supposedly just talking about it. And they arrested him and eventually gave him 14 years in prison. Okay? That's where he is right now, locked up for 14 years. You follow what I'm saying? And the situation that Blagojevich was doing a few things for us. Okay? A few things for us. And that has come out. How he was trying to do a few things for Israelites, so-called black folks, and that's another reason why he was attacked. You see what I'm saying? So, again, where's the solution to our problems? How do we get out of this? How do we get out from up under this? Okay, just like you understand in the last Q&A, when the person, I think it was a sister, and she put up on, where can we put our, our wealth, precious metals, things of that nature, where can we put it? Because the government has a right to come in and confiscate, right? And I said, before I could say anything, I think it was a brother, he popped up there, you got to get some guns and you got to get some bullets and bombs and protect yourself. And how did I respond to that? That totally makes no sense, right? Because again, as I just read a little bit ago, right, out of Daniel chapter 11 verse 38, they put their trust in weaponry, see? But that can't be our trust. Our trust has to be Yah. He's our only protection. He's our shield. He's our strength. He's our power. So if we don't go to Yah, if we don't return to Yah, submit and obey, then we have no strength, we have no power, we have no way out from up under this oppressive demonic system. We have no way out of the hands of our enemies, that Yah said he would put us into the hands of our enemies who hate us. And isn't this exhibited all the time, where they show that they hate us? And it's so bad, even some of us that are not really Israelites but look like an Israelite, you understand what I'm saying? That venom comes on them. If anybody trying to help us, like Blagojevich, he's a Gentile out of Wally. He's Nigerian. He ain't even one of us. You understand what I'm saying? Per se, he could be, but basically it don't look like he's one of us. He could be a Hamite, but he's helping. He stands up for us because he's a lawyer. And look how they're attacking him. You see what I'm saying? See? So again, I mean, you know, how do we get out of this? See, these people who attack us because we taking refuge in Yah, they have no solution. See? They have no solution. You know, some of them who, you know, that attack us, they got a job, right? Making 50, 60,000 a year, 100,000 a year, right? Maybe 200,000 a year, maybe 800,000, maybe $1 million a year. See? So they making, you know, they are right in their mind. Okay? But that's not doing anything. That's not changing the system. That's not changing our plight as a people. We still are in trouble, the masses of us. And now, not only Israel, but the people of the world. Okay? Because you got people all over the world that's in trouble now. Right? As we keep bringing out. Okay, and just this last little thing here, Chicago Sun-Times, March 6th. And I know many of you, you know, they make all this inferior mess that they charge you a big buck for. GM's handling of ignition recall under scrutiny. You know, some of you, if not all of you, might have heard about General Motors, right? They had a major recall of 1.6 million older model compact cars that's got an ignition problem. Now, 1.6 million, and these are older cars, and some people have died because these cars have caught fire and burned them up because of an ignition problem. Okay? And, you know, they're under scrutiny by the government, you know, making these inferior motor vehicles. And then a little article to the side here says State Farm hikes homeowners rates, you know, because again, with all of this, you know, the different things that Yah is bringing down on the people, you know, his judgment, right? With the weather and you know, all these different accidents and snow and floods and fires, right? You understand the people who have this insurance coverage, quite naturally, they're going to file for some kind of reimbursement. So again, all the insurance companies do is pass it on, right, to the people when they got to pay out whatever they do pay out, because we know they don't pay, you know, the full coverage of any of these policies. You know what I'm saying? You be doing good if you get 50 or 60% back when you got these policies. You know, 50% of what you lost. You understand? Coverage for what you lost. So because they try to get out from paying you anything. So with that, we're open to questions. Any questions out there, anything you want to talk about? And just before we start again, you know, we did this today. I know it's, like I said in the session, it's kind of quick after the last one, but I wanted to, you know, it was things to talk about and things happening so fast. But at the same time, we knew Purim was coming up next weekend. And, you know, I saw one of the questions that popped up about Purim. But again, nothing takes precedence over the seventh-day Sabbath. So this particular time, Purim falls on the 14th and the 15th. And the 15th is the seventh-day Sabbath next week. So, you know, you're going to regard the Sabbath, you understand? And you can, like I said, you acknowledge Purim just in understanding that this was a time in our history where Yah reaped major salvation for us when we were in the Medo-Persian kingdom, when the Amalekite Edomite attacked us, tried to wipe us, get us wiped out, exterminated. And Yah reversed it through Mordecai and Hadassah, who's called Esther. Okay? But again, when the 15th comes, that's the 7th-day Sabbath, and you'll be in at rest. All right, and with that, oh yeah, and also I wanted to mention, next month, again, as you heard the session, for all of you who heard it in its entirety, per se, you heard me mention about next month is we recognize Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread. When it gets on the 14th day at even, or on the 14th day when it gets dark, that'll be the beginning of Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, Feast of Unleavened Bread in recognition of that. And the Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread lasts 1 week, and every day for 1 week, you've got to eat a piece of unleavened bread every day for at least a mouthful for those 7 days, 15th through the 21st. And again, when it gets, before it gets dark, on the 14th day, going into the 15th, right? When it gets dark, it'll be the 15th. Before then, you take all your leavening out your house. Everything that's got leavening in it, yeast, soda, baking powder, you throw all that away. Okay? So now we're open for questions. Anybody that has them. Okay, you said, Brother Yehuda, doesn't the day of Purim start on March 13th, that Thursday night, correct until the 14th day dark? Again, when it gets dark on the 13th day, that'll be the beginning of the recognition of Purim, 14th and the 15th day. Okay, every 24 hour begins with dark, followed by light. Okay, not at sundown, but at dark. That's when your next 24-hour day begins. Right, March 13th at dark. That's the beginning of the 14th day. Okay? What's next? Anybody got questions? Maybe this will be a short Q&A. Okay? Anybody got questions? We'll let her ask. Anybody got questions? Come on with them. And if you don't, if you're clear on everything, then, that's fine. And we'll just call it a session for today, if nobody has any questions. Any questions out there? Okay, what do we do on the day of Purim? Basically, you just do pretty much whatever you want to do. You can go out. Okay, if we were in the land, then we would be, it'd be feast and festivity, and we would be giving gifts one to another. Okay? But we're in captivity, so we don't give gifts. We just recognize it. I remember when Yada was working, Monday through Friday, she would always take those 2 days off, and we do pretty much whatever we wanted to do. You know what I mean? And basically, we just chill out, and if we wanted to, do something, we do it. Do pretty much what we wanted to do. But we're always going to read about, Purim. We're going to read the Book of Esther on that day. We gather and read the Book of Esther and discuss it. To whatever extent. And that's pretty much it. Okay. Yehuda Elisha died of sickness. Why? Again, it says that in the book, and it could very well be maybe Elisha possibly, it doesn't clarify, right? Because we just like with David, can you hear me? Elisha, how Esau's messing with it. Can you hear me now? Is it clear again? You know, with Elisha, okay, with Elisha, it doesn't really state what he was sick of. We know David was anemic, right? Who's to say? This is what I was saying in this session, right? You know, some not in depth. We have to go in. We have to do our best to recognize the situation and possibly what was going on, right? Elisha died of a sickness. It doesn't tell us just what he was, you know, what the sickness was. But at the same time, we're dealing with human beings. Okay? We're dealing with human beings. Okay? And human beings, you know, we do different things. We mess up, just like with David in what's that, 2 Samuel, right? When Yah moved him to number the people, right? Now it looks like, you know, David hadn't done anything, but David had. Well, you know, again, you understand what I mean? That's Satan there. That's something that was in David. He had done something, and the people were doing something that they had no business doing. They were in satanic mode, adversarial mode. It doesn't tell us what they were doing, okay? But we know they was doing something. And then David had this, you know, this fruitless mindset to number the people, right? Because, I mean, how can you do that? Because before the people is numbered, you might have 3, 4, 5,000 children born. You might have another 2,500 that just died. So how can you number people of that magnitude? How can you number? It doesn't even make sense. Why are you doing it anyway? See, but Yah moved him to do it because that was his desire, right? And Yah just supplies the spirit, but that had to be David's desire. So that was his. First, he was wrong for wanting to do that. You understand what I mean? The people, they was doing something they had no business doing, because we can see 70,000 people died. So now when you're dealing with people individually and collectively, you understand, and from this book here, it doesn't just say, because we're dealing with a translation that's been translated by our adversaries. So I brought out in this session, I brought out, since been on just, in the Q&A, they've done things to tamper with the book. This is not the first time we've talked about this. See? So certain things just not going to be pinned down, exact. Now, I see this, what you got up there, Yoel, about the 2 mountains of brass mentioned in Zechariah 6:1. What do they represent? Well, again, we know the third kingdom was brass, right? That's Greece, right? Grecian. Isn't that right? So, because we see that over in Daniel chapter 7. Isn't that right? So, again, when it talks about, these 2 mountains of brass, I mean, I read that, and like I said, the only thing I can say about that, again, is that we know that Grecian was the kingdom represented by brass. So I'm not just clear per se on just what that represents, other than that it was Grecian. Okay, these horses and whatnot, I'm not just clear on that either. Okay, we can see it's prophetic when you get down in basically it's prophetic from that time that it was given to Zechariah, right? But now here, like when you pick up verse 11, it's mentioning Yahushua, the son of Jehoshaphat, the high priest. And we know that Yahushua was the high priest at that time of the seed of Zadok. Okay? But now it goes off into, it says, and speak unto him, saying, thus speaketh Yah of hosts, saying, I'm in verse 12, behold, the man whose name is the branch, and he shall grow up out of his place, and he shall build the temple of Yah. Well, we know Zerubbabel did that. Because, you understand, Zerubbabel went into captivity. See? He went into captivity because he was alive. He was of the seed of Konya. Right? It says he was the son of Shealtiel. We talked about that he had been, actual son of Pedaiah, but all of them, Pedaiah and Shealtiel, they were of the seed of Konya. And so when you understand, Yah brought Nebuchadnezzar in 597, took Konya and his family up. Well, Zerubbabel went up into captivity, but he was born in Jerusalem. He was born in Jerusalem in the land. And he went into captivity when he was a young boy. See, that's why, again, here in Zechariah, the people at one point, they were wondering whether Zerubbabel was going to live long enough to complete the temple. You follow what I'm saying? Because when they came back, all right, they had been in captivity for 70 years. Zerubbabel could have been, let's just say arbitrarily, he was 10 years old. You follow what I'm saying? Maybe 15. He was like 80, 85 years old when they came back from captivity. Then he got cut off for another 14 to 15 years, right? Daniel chapter 9, first half of the 26th verse. So now he's up in his 90s. And the people, were wondering whether he was going to live long enough to finish the temple. And Yah tells them through Zechariah here, right? In chapter 4, that the hands of Zerubbabel had laid the foundation of the temple and his hands was going to finish it. Okay? So now, you see over here in chapter 6, right? And it says he would build the temple again, right? I'm in verse 13 now. Even he shall build the temple of Yah, and he shall bear the glory and shall sit and rule upon his throne, and he shall be a priest upon his throne, and the council of peace shall be between them both. Now, this is like prophetic. See? This 12 and 11, 12, 13, it's like prophetic. Okay? It's gone off into today, just like Zechariah chapter 3. It's talking about today, those first 7, 8 verses in Zechariah 3. It's talking about today. And we've talked about that before. Okay? Matter of fact, all of chapter 3 is prophetic into today of Zechariah. So this is prophetic when you get down into here. You see what I'm saying? Like I said, this is a prophecy, verse, from verse 10, 11, 12, 13, they used the ones who was there at that time, right? Some of the Levites and this Yahshua, who was the high priest, and then they talk about the branch, the seed of David, right? Which is, again, we know Zerubbabel was that back then, but now it's projected up into today, and beyond today, okay? In these verse 11, 12, and 13, right? 14 as well, right? And you see what it says in verse 15, and they that are far off shall come and build in the temple of Yah, and he shall know that Yah of hosts has sent me unto you, and this shall come to pass if you will diligently obey the voice of Yah. Now he's gone back to the past, because again, you follow what I'm saying? They did actually build the temple at the exhortation of Yah through Haggai and Zechariah. See, because they didn't do what they were supposed to do, as I've talked about in the past. When they got stopped, Zerubbabel was supposed to write a letter to Cyrus, but he didn't do it. They like, oh, well, it's not time. See, and when you read Haggai chapter 1, that's what that's talking about. See, and they left off and built their own houses and just left off from building Yah's house. And so, they went through problems for the next like 14 years. Okay, from 535 all the way down to like 521, 520, the second year of Darius the Persian. And they was, as it tells you in Haggai chapter 1, Yah had to curse on them. He was whipping them because they hadn't done what they was cut loose to do, right? He said, you make money to put it into a bag with holes in it. You went to draw like 50 vats of water out of the well, you only got 10. You planted 100 bushels of wheat, you only got back 20. Because Yah was smiting them in every work of their hand. Just like today, wherever Israel is. The Israelites that are not in harmony with Yah, you understand, they getting whipped. And again, like I said on this session, even the Israelites who have turned to Yah, right? You've got to be, you understand, judged according to your ways that you have done in the past, right? Again, you remember chapter 30, verse 11. You shall not altogether go unpunished, because you've got to be refined. Okay, but like I just said in this session, you understand, people call and they like, you, well, I'm doing everything. Yeah, I said, well, keep on doing it. Because again, you can't decide when your whipping should stop. I can't decide when my whipping should stop. That's up to the father. Like I did the analogy about my paternal father. Okay, when he used to whip me, I'm hollering and screaming, asking him to stop, but he ain't hearing nothing I got to say, because it's time for the whipping. And he's not going to stop whipping me till he's satisfied and content that I understand what I have to do. See? And what the repercussions and consequences are if I don't do what he had told me to do. Well, it's the same thing with Yah, the Father. We've got to obey. And if we don't, he's showing us, as he has from the past all the way up to this present day, what's going to happen to us if we don't obey him. That's why I just spotted you this article, about Degbo Adewale, right? And Mumia Abu-Jamal, right? How I mentioned about Ruben Hurricane Carter, the ex-boxer. Similar situation as Mumia Abu-Jamal in the same city, Philadelphia. But this is happening to us all over the earth, wherever we are. Okay? This happened to a whole flock of us here in Chicago. And I'm just going back from like the last 40 years coming up. Not even talking about before like 74. You know? It was going on then. Like I just talked about, you know, in this session about this picture, near the end of this session, what I talked about, this picture that came on, you know, because they just come out of supposedly Black History Month. And I was looking at one of these things that they had up about our past, you know, about us, and they showed this picture, like I said, and I hope y'all got the picture of it. It was a picture, you know, it comes up on the TV, and you see all these Caucasians, some older, men, women, little girls, little boys, all Caucasian. That's all you see. See? And they all basically just about smiling, and some of them laughing. And you look at them initially, it's like they're at a party, right? And then as the camera panned up above their head, you can start first. As the camera went up, first thing you see is some feet. And then as it keeps going up, you see legs. As the camera keeps going up, then you see two Hebrew Israelites hanging from a tree. Okay, with their necks broke, hands tied behind their back. And that's what these Gentiles, some of them was pointing up to these bodies hanging from the trees of these Israelites. You follow me? See, so again, you know, this kind of thing's been going on. And as I just pointed out, it's in regression, because, you know, the Voting Rights Act now has been totally decimated. They've given the power, they've taken it from the federal government and given it back to the states. And so these individual states now are coming up with new laws for voting. See? Changing it back the way it used to be. You follow what I'm saying? Okay? It's digression. Okay? The Civil Rights Act, that had a time frame on it. It's coming up. It's getting ready to expire, something, I think, or something. I mean, they changed everything. The thing is in digression. Like I'm saying about this Degbo Adewale. You understand? They down on him. They voted against his nomination, you understand, over this Civil Rights Department in the federal government, simply because, as they claim, you understand, he defended, he was part of the defense team for Mumia Abu-Jamal. But that's what he does. He's a liar. See? You're supposed to be innocent till proven guilty. Then you have a right to appeal, even if you lose the case. You understand what I'm saying? You got a right to an appeal. This Caucasian that murdered that Jordan Davis, isn't he pursuing an appeal? He was convicted of what? 3 counts of attempted murder, right? But they give him, what was it? They gave him the first count for killing Jordan Davis. They got him for 2nd-degree murder on that, right? They didn't you understand, they didn't convict him on first-degree murder. And like I said on the last session, I still don't understand how you can get convicted on second-degree murder for murdering somebody, but it's second degree. But when you shot at the other three who was with this person, they gonna convict you on a first-degree attempted murder on those three cases. Hey, how that work? If they convict you on, you understand, first-degree attempted murder on 3 charges, but they give you on second-degree murder, you understand, on the one you actually killed. Figure that out if you can, because I can't. Okay? What's next?
About the 2 mounds of brass, Roger said, could it possibly have to do with Greece, maybe the 2 prominent generals of Alexander the Great?
Okay, well, again, the speculation on that, I see, Yeshaya Abadya, he's put up speculation on that, and that can be discussed. Like I said, I don't know just what that's in representation, what that actually means. So hopefully y'all will give that and give that out and let us understand that. Okay? But as of right now, I'm not clear on it. Okay? So now what's next? Okay, it says, I just wondered, especially since he had double portion of Yah's anointing. I don't even know what that's connected to. Okay, y'all just looking for that, Myrtle. Hold on. I don't know what that's connected to. Okay, we'll move on and then, put it back up again, Myrtle, in context so I can see, in what you're referring to. Okay, what's next?
Somebody had about, I think this here maybe, to clarify that.
Okay, what?
Right here.
Okay, you just want to clarify, doesn't the Jerusalem movement has to go back land before September 2016, not 2015, 2016. Okay, what's next?
Okay. Somebody else, Wayne.
Okay, what site can we go to find clothing? So Yeshaya knows that. Yeshaya, Abadya, put that up about that site about clothing.
Hebrew.
Okay, did you see it? Hebrew garments, Zamora, put that up. Hebrew garments. What's next?
She says it's on Facebook. It's Hebrew garments.
Okay,
website there.
Okay, say it's on Facebook. You take a good look at it. It's Zamora. Zamora put that up. Thank you, Zamora. Y'all blessed. What's next? What's this here? Do you think about the timing of Roma Downey's and husband's new movie coming out? I don't know who Roma Downey is. Since they listen and know about to do Purim, Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, Keep Israel tied to the Idol Son of God movie. I've never heard it. I don't know what movie that is.
It must be that new movie that came out. Say they sex JC up or something. It was just
okay. Y'all is telling me, but I don't know what that is. But these movies, you can look at them and discern them. But more than likely they're not going to tell the truth about anything. They're going to have it all. You understand, discombobulated. So I'm not aware of that. What's next?
Thing keeps jumping. Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to get it up here.
All right, what?
Okay, what
site can you go?
What site can you go to for silver and gold? 9mex, I think it is. Yadida. Yeah, AppMex. Okay, APMEX. Thank you, Yoel. You see that? AppMex.com. What's next? Okay, Jacob and I was scanning earlier this week and found a site promoting what? Yahwehism. And JC selling Yah Righteousness t-shirts, but directing people to their ideology. Well, now, if they're trying to mix this in with some of their nonsense, they in trouble.
Does it have the logo?
Myrtle 48. Put that site up so we can check it out, because I'm not aware of it, and evidently Yeshaya Yedita's not aware of it. Okay, but put it up so we can see, we can go there and check it out, because if they doing that, they in trouble. What's next? No, okay. I see this. Are you familiar with Zakaria.store? No, I'm not familiar with that. Okay, I don't know what that is.
For the garments, maybe.
Okay. For real at Myrtle, that's okay. Wait a minute, now it's not. Hold on. Okay, what's that?
Question.
Hold on. Okay, how are Lucifer and Satan different entities? Okay, well, Shemaiah 7:7:7, right? Lucifer in Yeshaya chapter 14, that's in reference to this Illuminati of the, basically the West per se. It could even be kind of like talking about the two primary per se Illuminati guys, the one that's running the West, per se, Germany, France, England, and America, and then the one that's running Russia. Okay, and I say that because they've got their space station up above the clouds of heaven, like it says there in the 14th chapter. Lucifer just means holder of the light, and they are illuminated. Okay, because they understand the book, so they're illuminated. All right. Satan, when you read about it, just means adversarial, of which they are. They're adversarial to Yah. Okay, anybody that's satanic is adversarial to Yah, just like we just mentioned about David in 2 Samuel chapter 20. What was that? Chapter 24, the last chapter, I think it is, when in that chapter 24 there, where David, Yah moved him, right? It says Satan moved David to number the people, but again, it was because David had this satanic spirit, this adversarial spirit to number the people. You see what I'm saying? He had the desire, so Yah fueled the desire with the spirit. Again, I direct you to Jeremiah chapter 17. Your desire always precedes your ways. You have to desire something before you actually proceed on doing it. It has to come up through your desire. You understand? Before you actually do it. And if you are determined to do a thing, Yah's going to fuel that. If you desire with a great desire to do a thing, Yah's going to give you the appropriate spirit to send you on in the way of your heart's desire. Okay, so if your desire is adversarial, satanic, in opposition to Yah, then Yah's going to fuel that. See, but then you got to what? You've got to reap your, the consequences, the repercussions and consequences of your desire. Simple as that. Okay, simple as that. See, Yah, you know what I'm saying? And then once you desire something, Yah fuels that with the appropriate spirit to send you on in the way of your heart. And if your desire is satanic, adversarial, in opposition to Yah, you're going to reap the consequences and repercussions of your actions. Isn't that what it's saying there in Jeremiah chapter 17? The heart is desperately wicked. Who can know it? I, Yah, try the heart, the reins thereof, to give everyone according, it says, to their ways. But again, your desire precedes your ways. Right? So that's the difference there. The ones who are holders of the light, these illuminated Edomites, and anybody else that's a holder of the light, right? If you are adversarial to Yah, then you're satanic. And see, again, in Yeshaya chapter 14, the Lucifer there, are these Illuminati Edomite, Malachite Edomites, who are illuminated, but they are satanic. Okay? What's next? I hope you understand it. If you didn't, put it back up there again. We'll deal with whatever you didn't grab.
Did you deal with the devil also, or just Satan?
Well, again, the devil, again, if anybody, you had to ask me that I deal with the devil. But the devil, just go to Deuteronomy chapter 32. And I mentioned it in this session that just played, for those of you who heard it. All right? The devil, okay, y'all got confused, but I'm going to deal with it anyway since she brought it up. The devil in Deuteronomy chapter 32 is in reference to what? Idols and images. Idolatry. Okay? Don't you see it there in the 32nd chapter of Deuteronomy? What Moses told our forefathers before he died, before they went over in the land of Canaan? He said, first you're going to inherit the blessing when you go across the Jordan over in the land of Canaan. Then after so long, your offspring going to turn away from you, and then you're going to inherit the curse. And then he said, and they're going to start what? Worshiping new gods, lowercase, or idols, images, newly raised up, not Yah, but what? Devils. Okay? So Yahashua, what is it? Yahashua, Jesus, Yeshua, Yahashua in that sense of the New Testament, right? Allah, Buddha, all of that garbage, it's all deviltry. Simple as that. People who worship human beings. You understand? You in the devil worship. Because again, you ain't worshiping, you ain't supposed to be worshiping anybody but Yah, period. That's it. What's next?
See what they have about.
Okay, reference Elisha being sick and died even with the double portion received from Yah, but I understand, as you say, the human factor. Well, again, Yah is asking me a question, yeah. Okay. But he had a double portion of Eliah's spirit, right? But again, see, and let me just say this. It was time for him to go. Evidently, he got sick and he died. So now, when it's time for you to go, right? You can go different ways. They can call it sickness. And again, you got to remember too, we dealing with this book that's been translated. But still, I'm not saying that that's not right, correct? You understand? He possibly got older. It was time for him to go. He got sick. Who's to say what that sickness was? Like I said a minute ago, we see David was anemic, correct? He couldn't get heat, right? So who's to say just what that sickness was? We don't know. But it was time for him to go. We do know that, and so I took him. What's next?
Can you elaborate on the adultery that occurred in the garden between?
Okay, Can you, I see you got another one. It's a two-parter, right? Can you elaborate on the adultery that occurred in the garden between, who is this Chavah? I don't know what that is. Like, you got to talk to me in English. I ain't into that Hebrew Edomite, all right? I don't know. You got to give me more understanding of what you're talking about, Shemaiah. And again, just like those of you looking at the screen, you see what Esau doing, putting this moon, the crescent moon, and the stars up there, that representation of that Islam nonsense. You see how he does? You see, this is what we deal with. We're in the furnace of affliction. Okay, put it up where I can understand what you're talking about, Shemaiah. Okay, and the myrtle again, it says Zazzle.com is the website selling Yah Righteousness t-shirts, and Zachariah.store is the name of the person on the site. We just checked, and he took his name off, but if you search Yah Righteousness Movement, it comes up $25.95. Well, again, this Zachariah, whoever he is, y'all gonna deal with it. Y'all definitely gonna deal with it. There ain't no doubt in my mind about that. So I hope he's listening, or he, she, or whoever it is. All right? Yah is going to deal with them. Simple as that, because they playing with the Most High there. Okay? And I'll be real interested to see just what Yah does to him. Okay, what's next?
You got a suggestion on how to organize the Q&A. Should have all the questions posted privately.
Okay, wait a minute. Now it says suggestion to keep your Q&As organized and simple for you. Perhaps you should have all the questions posted privately to a few people and let them post them so you won't have to keep sifting through all of these texts.
Yes.
Well, again, you know, I don't know if you heard her. Yada said she got that. She got it covered. Okay.
Thank you.
You see what Yeshua put up there, Shemaiah? www.yahrisings.org, adultery and HTML. Okay. What's next? Hold on for a second. Put it on. Put it on.
Call from Ellen Angela.
Okay, yeah, that was somebody, you know, he wanted to tell me he ain't selling no shirts. I told him I can't deal with that now, and evidently he's listening. So whoever's doing it, like I said, whoever's doing it, you understand? I don't know who's doing it, but whoever's doing it, they in trouble. Yeah, I take care of them. What's next? Okay, Alicia, let's see what? Sick daddy with the double portion, see. Okay, that we already dealt with that, right? So what's next? Okay, is that it for today?
No, it says breakdowns.
Okay, breakdown. So you to break down Genesis 49, 25, and 26 a little bit more. Thank you. Is that the Shiloh? Okay, that's no problem. Okay, now, again, you know, this is the blessing that Yah put on, that Israel, right, Yaakov put on each one of his sons. Okay? So again, here in, 25, 26, okay, it says, even by the strong one of thy father who shall help thee. Okay, it says, now who's this? Okay, this is Yahoseph, right? This is in reference to Yahoseph. Who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep, that lieth under, blessings of the breast and of the womb. The blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors. You know, that's Abraham and Isaac, right? Jacob's progenitors, unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Yahoseph and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brother. Well, again, that's just referring to that double portion. See, because what Yaakov did, Yisrael, right? He split the birthright up. When Reuben messed up, now Yaakov can take that, you know, because the eldest son always, you know, if the eldest son obeyed his father, right? And in this regard, in regards to Israel, got to maintain the law of Yah, just like what we see with Esau. Esau was the eldest, but he didn't get he sold his birthright, which again he didn't care anything about, which is responsibility and obligation to keeping the law of Yah, the light of Yah. Esau didn't care about that, so he sold that, right? And then, you understand, as it was prophesied to their mother, Rebekah, when she had the two boys inside her womb, right? That the younger would rule over the elder, then Yaakov got the blessing. Now, that's twofold, right? The birthright and the blessing, right? Okay, so with Reuben, the oldest son of Yaakov, you know, Yisrael, if he had obeyed Yah, you understand, and kept the law of Yah, you understand, then he would have got the birthright and the blessing out of the 12 boys. But he didn't do that. He committed an adultery. He defiled his father's couch by having sex with one of Yaakov's wives, right? All right. So he was knocked out of the blessing. and the birthright, as it tells you at the top. You know, when Yaakov, Yisrael, started to bless the boys. You see what he said in verse 3? Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity and the excellency of power. Unstable as water. You see verse 4 there? That's what Reuben was. Unstable as water. You shall not excel, because you went up to thy father's bed, then defiled thou it. He went up to my couch. So he was knocked out of the birthright and the blessing. So now, what happens? When you come down to Simeon and Levi, you see what Israel said, Yaakov? Verse 5, Simeon and Levi, our brethren, instruments of cruelty are in their habitation. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly. Mine honor be not thou united. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they digged down a wall. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. So now they knocked out of the birthright and the blessing. Now you get to Yahudah, the fourth born son, you know, the fourth oldest, right? And you see what Yah says, and when you go back here in Genesis and read, you understand, you'll see that Yahudah always rose to the occasion to take on what? Responsibility and obligation, even to his own detriment. Okay? Like in the case with, you understand, what happened with Benjamin when Yahosef, who they didn't know, you understand, who disguised himself, right? And played the trick on him and was going to, you know, take Benjamin and make him his bond servant. And as Yahudah swore to their father that give Benjamin into my care and I'll make sure that he returns unto you. And when it looked like Benjamin was going to be taken because of this trick that Yahosef played on him, right? Who rose up and made the appeal to Yahosef that eventually broke Yahosef down to where he revealed himself? It was Yahudah, was it not? And as I've spoken of in the past, you know that when Jacob, Israel, came down into Egypt, and then he started to commune with Yahosef, his son, that he had been separated from all those years, and they were talking, you know that, you understand, it came out, Yahosef told him what broke him down and what made him reveal himself to his brethren. Okay? And this was from the appeal of Yahudah. And what was that appeal? Yahudah said, take me, I'll be your bond servant, but let my brother return to our father, lest you bring our father's whole head down to the grave in sorrow. Because his brother is gone. They was, you know, he was talking about Yahosef, right? Because they thought he was dead. He said, you understand? And he like, you understand, this is the only son left of that particular, in other words, that wife of our fathers, which was Raquel. Let him return to our father. I'll be your bond servant. So you know Yahosef told Yisrael this, and so Yisrael knew and understood that Yahudah had kept his word even to his own detriment. He was ready to give himself up for his brother, because of the promise he made to Yisrael, their father. So now when you get to Yahudah here in 49 Genesis, you see what it says? Verse 8, Yahudah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Yahudah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? The scepter shall not depart from Yahudah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come. And again, we see when Shiloh came, again, as you remember, you know, over in 1 Samuel, right? When Shiloh came, when they went into the land, matter of fact, even before, I'm beyond myself, but again, when you go to the book of Joshua, right? When they crossed the Jordan and went into the land of Canaan, where did they set the tabernacle of Yah up? Wasn't it in Shiloh? That's where Yah was at the first. You know, like I said at the beginning of this Q&A, I made a mistake in that session. I said that it was Ezekiel I said Jeremiah chapter 31, right? Is where it talked about Shiloh. But it wasn't Jeremiah chapter 31, it was Jeremiah chapter 7. where Yah talks about where he said his name at the first. And he says, what did I do to Shiloh when the people went iniquitous? He destroyed Shiloh by the hand of the Philistines, didn't he? And the Ark of the Covenant was taken, right? Okay, but the point being is, when Shiloh was established, you understand, there was no lawgiver. The scepter was not in Yahudah, because when Shiloh was established in the book of Yahushua, Yahushua was the governor, was he not? Wasn't he the anointed of Yah? Didn't Yah tell Moses, you understand, over there in Deuteronomy, to lay his hands on Yahushua and give him a charge in the sight of the people? Because he was going to lead the people across the Jordan over into the land of Canaan. And he was the governor. But what tribe was Yahushua out of? He was out of the tribe of Ephraim, was he not? Not out of the tribe of Yahudah. So when Shiloh came, the scepter had departed from between the feet of Yahudah. See? But now when the scepter came back, the rulership came back into Yahudah, who did it come back in? Didn't it come back in with David? Huh? And when the Ark of the Covenant, that was representative of Yah at the time, when it was recovered from the Philistines, you know, Yah brought it back from the Philistines, right? But when he had it taken over to Obed-Edom's house, because what? Again, we're dealing with human beings here. And we see that when they was bringing the ark up, when the oxen stumbled and the cart tipped, and the Ark of the Covenant was getting ready to fall out of the cart, Uzzah put forth his hand and caught it. And Yah killed him on the spot. Broke forth on him, right? And it scared David and the people. And they took the ark over into the Obed-Edom's house, who was a Levite. And as long as the ark was over there in Obed-Edom's house, Obed-Edom was blessed, was he not? Yah blessed his household. And then after, what was it, about a couple of months, you know, you go to 1 Chronicles chapter 15, and you see that David, you know, he had been contemplating, how can I bring the ark to me? And finally he figured it out, because Yah's spirit upon him, right? Huh? See? And what did he say? Sanctify the Levites, because it's them that have been, you understand, chosen by Yah to do the service of Yah up close to Yah. They have to handle all of them things dealing with Yah. The Levites, sanctify yourself, right? See? Because what does David say in 1 Chronicles 15? Did he say, because we did not do it after the due order, Yah broke a breach upon us, you know, broke forth in a breach upon us? Huh? See, and that order is like a two-sided situation, you know, it's a two-pronged situation. It's the commandment of Yah, which is an order, correct? And then it has to be done by a certain order, according to the commandment of Yah. You see what I'm saying? It's like a two-edged thing, a two-pronged situation. Okay? It's the command of Yah, which is an order, and it has to be done a certain way, which has a certain order to it. Okay? So again, you understand, Yahudah was made the ruler, but over there in this verse 25 and verse 26, you understand? And it basically starts up at verse 22 with Yahoseph. Now Yahoseph was given, he was given the double portion. See, Yahudah was given the rulership, but Yahoseph was given the double portion. That's why, you understand, when you go to chapter 48, the previous chapter, what do you see there? Don't you see where Yaakov, Yisrael, what did he say to Yahoseph? I'm going to pick this up. This is 48 Genesis verse 5. He says, and now this is Yisrael talking to Yahoseph. He says, and now thy two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto thee in the land of Egypt, before I came unto thee into Egypt, are mine. You see that? As Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine. See? So now Yisrael is taking the two sons of Yahoseph, and he's giving them equal portions with the rest of his sons.
That's not the birthright.
So he's given Yahoseph, okay, a double portion. And again, that's the birthright. That's the birthright. But he gave the rulership to Yahudah. And that's why we got 13 tribes of the nation of Israel, not 12. And Ephraim and Manasseh are referred to, as you see in Obadiah, right? The one chapter, as what? The house of Yahoseh, or the house of Joseph. Okay? Just like when you go to chapter 48 Ezekiel and you count, and this is after the ones of the children of Israel who returned to Yah, you're going to have, I've said this in the past, you're going to have a remnant of each one of these boys who's going to return to Yah. I'm talking about of the males. Definitely of the women, but definitely of the males, right? It's some seed of each one of these 13 tribes in the world today. Okay? And you're going to have some of the seed of every one of these 13 tribes that's going to turn to Yah. You're not going to have all of them, because all Israel's not coming back. And most of the males aren't coming back. And we see this in Yeshaya chapter 6. Only a tenth of the males of Israel are coming back to Yah. 9/10 of the children of Israel, the males now, the men, are not coming back to Yah. And again, since I'm talking about that, you know, because it's been a couple of sisters, I referred to it in this last session, I'm going to say it again. It's a sister that brought this to me. She in Missouri. She brought this to me a couple years ago. 2-3 years ago. She said, well, you know, Yahuda, it's a lot of our brothers incarcerated, right? They in prison. We got to get them out. We can't get them out. They got to get themselves out. And how do they do that? I don't care if they buried in the deepest dungeon, darkest, solitary confinement of the prison system here in America, or wherever else they are. If they turn to Yah with all their heart and all their soul, just like what I just said on this last session, Yah did with Konya. In regards to evil Moradach, those Konya, when he was taken up into Babylon in 597 with his family and those who were taken up with him in that captivity, of which Ezekiel was part of, he was put in prison, in the dungeon, where he stayed for 37 years. Now, so that's what? He stayed in the dungeon until 560 BCE. And when Nebuchadnezzar died and evil Moradach became king over Babylon, it tells us that evil Moradach brought Konya up out the prison after 37 years, set him at his table for the rest of his life, gave him a daily allowance, and spake comfortably unto him. And that's because it took 37 years for Konya to be totally humbled in the sight of Yah. And when he was totally humbled, Yah brought him up out of that prison and put the spirit in evil Moradach to do that. Okay? It's the same thing with whatever brother, whatever sister that's locked up today, wherever they are, in whatever condition. If they turn to Yah with all their heart and soul, when they are totally humble for Yah, Yah will open up them prison doors and bring them out. But I can't bring them out of prison. Now, Yah has brought this word, this illumination through his arm, Yah righteousness, and this illumination is spread throughout the world as we speak. Why do you think they keep coming in fooling with it all the time? They started fooling with it today, even with the recording. Those of you who've been in the room all day listening to the session before the Q&A, from the very outset, you started hearing it, you know, stop. It had that stop gap. It picked back up, but sometimes something that I said got knocked out. Why do you think they do that? Okay, because this message is spreading. Just like on this last session when I mentioned the situation with, you know, and when Yeshaya puts this up, you'll be able to see the article, but I referred to it and how Obama now, the administration is appealing to young Israelites. Okay? Why do you think they're doing that? I showed a picture. You'll see it when Yeshaya puts it up. Y'all willing. You understand? Of these half a dozen young Israelites standing with Obama. You know, 5 out of 6 was smiling. One he's hugging him, looked like he was crying on his shoulder. Okay? Another picture right below that, Obama is shaking another one's hand. These are young brothers, you know, like 17, 18, 16 years old. And he's shaking Obama's hand in this other picture. He's smiling broadly. But Obama's looking at him like with disdain. He's looking at him like, you know, you might not be able to make it out on the internet, but if you could see the picture in clarity, Obama's looking at him like with a fish eye. Okay? See? Then another picture I showed when I was talking about them, you understand, combining church and state now, right? They're starting to teach these children, and you don't see anything but us. It was like six young, you know, Hebrew Israelite children. 5 of them are young girls. 1 is a brother. And they're talking about how they're teaching them, you understand? They're hooking them up into Moody's Bible Institute. They teaching them about Jesus, which is a violation of church and state. See, now when that came up, I saw, you understand, the sister popped up there. That's like, you understand, having a 501c3, but it's not. You understand? Because again, like I've pointed out in the past, a 501c3, when you apply for that, you are sending something to the government. Isn't that the same thing what Ezra did? Didn't he make his appeal to Artaxerxes, who was the government? Isn't it the same thing what Zerubbabel and them had to do, which they didn't do for 14, 15 years? And finally, when y'all stirred up Zerubbabel and them spirit to go and build that temple that they was cut loose to build 15 years earlier, you understand what I'm saying? And he stirred up their spirit through the prophecies of Haggai and Zechariah, and they started to build when they got braced by Esau and the Ishmaelites. You understand? You know that's who it was. When they got braced, like, well, who gave you permission to do this? And they said, you know, Cyrus gave us permission. You know what was said in response to that, right? Where y'all been? Cyrus been dead. You follow me? There's the Persian. There's the great is the great king now. We're going to see about this, right? That's when Zerubbabel said, hey, you know what? We better write a letter. Huh? So they had to write a letter. Who'd they write the letter to? They wrote it to Darius the Persian, Darius the Great. Don't we see that at the bottom of Ezra chapter 4? Don't we see this in Ezra chapter 5 and chapter 6? They had to write an appeal to those people who they were under, who they had been given into their hand. Isn't that right? Like I've pointed out in the past, you go to Ezra chapter 7, 7-8. Didn't he get a 501c3 at the time? That's basically what it was tantamount to. Didn't Artaxerxes say they are not, you understand, responsible to deal, you know, they can't, custom, duty, and toll cannot be applied to Ezra and this group here. They absolved from that. Didn't Artaxerxes do the same thing for Nehemiah? When you go to the book of Nehemiah, in chapter 2, don't you see that Nehemiah said, when he was sad and Artaxerxes asked him, he said, you know, why you sad? This is only sadness of heart. Didn't Nehemiah make a quick prayer to Yah? And then he put forth his appeal, his petition to Artaxerxes, that Artaxerxes granted. Why? Because Yah had the spirit in Darius the Persian. Just like Yah had the spirit in Cyrus the Great. Just like Yah had the spirit in Artaxerxes. Just like Yah had the spirit in Alexander the Great. They messed with that the last session, you know, the last Q&A, right? So I'm saying it again, right? Because Alexander the Great, and some people call him Alexander the Greek, he didn't put any tribute on Israel that was still in the land, on our forefathers. He didn't put taxes on them. He didn't put any tribute on them. He didn't mess with them. That's why the Illuminati Edomite, who was just coming into illumination, these Amalekites, we got to get rid of Alexander. And wasn't that the prophecy? Huh? The great horn in the head of the He-Go, who was the first king, which is Alexander, he would be broken. He was poisoned. Don't we see that? Okay? So again, you follow me? It's the same thing today. We're in the hand of the Illuminati Edomite and the Skull and Bone Boys, the secondary chief. I pointed this out in the past. Yeshaya chapter 41, verse 9. When Yah said, I have called thee from the chief men thereof. When you get you a Strong's Exhaustive Concordance, or you go into it, the one you got, and you look up that chief in 41:9 Yeshaya, what's the definition for it? In the Hebrew Edomite, it's what? Secondary. So this is the secondary chief that Yah said he's calling his servant from the chief men, these secondary chiefs. Well, isn't that what the Skull and Bone Boys are? They're not the top chief. They're the secondary chief. They get their orders from the Illuminati. You know, the illuminated Edomite Malachite who's running America and France and Germany and Britain. Okay? Simple as that. See? They the secondary chief. And they take orders. See? Skull and Bone Boys, the last Q&A, when somebody brought up to me about the history, you know, what books should we go to? I didn't mention, but I've mentioned it in the past, America's Secret Establishment, Skull and Bones 322 by Anthony C. Sutton. Excellent book. It'll straighten out a lot of things. Once you read it, if you got some other things, you understand, you know, if you got some other illumination, it fills in a lot of little gaps. You follow me? Because it lets you know that the Illuminati Edomite took over the educational system here in the daughter of Babylon, United States of America, in 1835. He started taking it over here. 1835. Okay? I've mentioned the book in the past, Foundations. I didn't mention it on last Q&A. Foundations by Renee Wormser. They tell you that they control the educational system. Because when this guy Renee Wormser, when he found that out, he had a nervous breakdown. Then he got himself together and penned Foundations. Okay? So again, you understand the 501c3? It has a charter, which is, you understand, a statement of what this movement is all about. Anybody that's got a 501c3, they got to write a charter stating their purpose, stating their aim, stating the reasons for why they're doing what they're doing. Okay? It's got bylaws and articles of incorporation. And as I said on the last session, all that is taken straight out of this book. What's next? Okay, if a man who is married wanted to pursue another wife here in the daughter of Babylon, is it supposed to be hidden from the first wife? No. Absolutely not. Because any man that's doing that, he's not about Yah. He's doing his own stuff. He's lying and deceiving. Simple as that. What's next?
Now that she restating her question about the unauthorized union between Eve and Abel, but wait, also making him a serpent. Okay, let's try it again. Can you please elaborate on the seed?
Okay, could you please show what?
It's the same part.
Okay. Can you please say? Let us try again. Can you please elaborate on the seed children that the serpent angel produced with Eve? Did that seed become a nation? If so, how are they identified? Again, Shemaiah, the so-called serpent was a man who descended from the people who were created in chapter 1 Genesis on the 6th day. But these people were not about Yah. As I said in the past, when you read Genesis chapter 2, when Yah created Adam, he created him to be the first priest, the first intercessor between him and these people who were on the earth. He gave Adam the law in verse 7. You're not alive until you get the law. All right? So again, when it says at the top of chapter 2, Genesis, Yah had not caused it to rain upon the earth. You got to remember, we're dealing with a transliteration. It's not talking about H2O. Those people in chapter 1 on the 6th day, they weren't given the law. So Yah created Adam, and through Adam was to give them the law. You see in chapter 2 Genesis where it says there was no mate found for Adam, because what did Yah say? It wasn't good that man should dwell alone. Didn't say he couldn't, just said it wasn't good. So it was a helpmate looked for Adam amongst the women who was on the scene, but it was none found, which implies a search was made. So you know it was women on the earth, but these women weren't suitable. Just like today, many women today, a brother who's about Yah, or any man that's about Yah, he's looking for a mate, you understand? It's hard finding one, because most of these women today not about Yah. Same thing with women. They looking for a man if they about Yah, and it can be a woman of Israel descent, or it can be another woman of another nationality. She looking for a man that's about Yah. It's hard finding people that's about Yah today, right? See, we dealing with human beings. So when you get to Genesis chapter 3, this man came up, who Esau in his translation calls the serpent, the snake. This man came up, you understand? He was taught the law by Adam. That's what made him subtle. More subtle than them other people, just like today. Those of us who know the law, it makes us subtle. Not so much subtle in the sense of being, nasty and dastardly, but it gives us illumination. So we've got more sight, we've got light. You understand what I'm saying? Well, other people don't. Yeshaya chapter 60, right? Arise and shine, for the glory of Yah has risen upon thee. Yah is talking about his arm, his movement, the Jerusalem movement in the daughter of Babylon. And those who gravitate to it, as I said in this session, the stone has hit the image. It's starting to grow. Okay? Like I intimated, and I don't think I came back to it in this session, but I was talking about it, but I went off into something else, but I've mentioned it here a couple of sessions or a session ago about the brother in Boston that called. I hadn't talked to him in a little over 2 years, and he said to me in that conversation, besides that, he said, I did what you had told me you. I went back and read the book all the way through, and you were right, I can see so much more. He also said to me, I've seen that the movement has grown, Yahuda. See, so the stone is no longer a stone as it was initially when it started hitting the kingdoms of man. That image of Nebuchadnezzar in the feet and toes, and starting to break that image up as we depicted on the front of the fly, right? See, now the stone is growing. You understand? As I told the sister, you understand, here just here the other week, when she hears, she gonna know just who I'm talking about. All right, when she said, well, the boulder came out of the mountain, Yehuda, and hit the image. I said it wasn't a boulder, it was a stone. It might be a boulder now, okay? It might be a boulder now, but it started out a stone. See, but it's growing now, and eventually it's going to become a mountain. Daniel chapter 2. See, a mountain that's going to fill up the whole earth. And then the whole earth will be the kingdom of Yah forever. So it's growing. Okay? But again, those 2 children, one was this man called the serpent. That was Cain, was his son. All right? Abel was the son of Adam. So I don't look at them as twins, because they got different fathers, but they were both in the womb of Eve at the same time. You understand? She became, I don't know who impregnated her first, but I know, you understand, when this serpent had sex with her and they committed adultery, she became impregnated with Cain. Now, I don't know if she already had Abel in her, or if Abel was put in her. You understand? From the when Adam came and knew she had committed an adultery, he shouldn't have touched her again. But he did. She enticed him, and he yielded. And he had intercourse with her again. And he knew that was against the law. Because that now is polluted. She was polluted as far as he's concerned. Or as he should have been concerned. So that was his sin. So I don't know if she was impregnated with Abel before or after, but she was carrying both seeds at the same time. As it says in Genesis chapter 3, wasn't it enmity between the two seeds? And as I did my best to bring out here the other month, you understand, Cain, all right, he knew he was the seed of this man who created all this, started all this mess. You follow me? Committed an adultery with his mother. You understand? He knew he was the product of this man. That's why his countenance was down. That's why y'all told him, said, why is thy countenance down? If you do good, you'll be accepted. You don't answer for what your father did. That's what he did. You answer for what you do. Okay? Because his offering was not accepted because he didn't take the best of his crop to Yah. He just took him anything. You can't take Yah just anything. When he's blessed you, you got to take him the best you can take him. That's where you get your blessings from. See? But now again, I'm not going to totally absolve Abel, because Abel could have been chiding. You understand? C-H-I-D-E or C-H-I-D-I-N-G. He could have been chiding. You understand? Cain. Signifying. Talking about him, he could have been blustery. You understand? He could have been, big-chested. And been looking down his nose, treating Cain in a condescending manner. You understand? But still that doesn't give Cain the right to rise up and murder Abel. But it says it was enmity between the two seeds. What's next? Okay, what tribe was named Git for Obed-Edom to be a Gittite?
LOL.
Huh?
LOL.
Oh, laugh out loud? Okay, well, what's the point? 2 Samuel chapter 6, 10-11, I know he was Levite, or Levite, cause Yah blessed his house while the ark was there. Is that the same Obed-Edom in Chronicles 16:5? Evidently it is. Because you understand, like I just said, in Chronicles chapter 15, David realized how they had to handle the ark. Okay, but he was a Levite, according to the book. That's why Yah blessed him, because he was a Levite, right? And he could have been called that, right, because of the location. As many people were named after the location, and some locations were called after the people.
Okay, that's what you just addressed.
Okay, what's next? Genesis 32:29 and Judges 13:18 shows angels not divulging their names, a secret. Why is that not the case in Daniel 8:16? Only thing I can say about that, Ahavia, is because it's not. You know what I mean? Yah revealed the name of Michael there. He said that's the, it's also revealed in a name in Michael is revealed in Daniel chapter 10. Okay? All I can say is because it's not. It's not that, and it doesn't say anywhere that the names of angels is secreted. You're not going to actually see that. That's what you're saying, what you got in parentheses. We don't see anywhere in the book where it says the names of the angels are secreted from man, kept from man. We don't see that anywhere. It's just that sometimes they're named, sometimes they're not. Okay? Just like the angel that was sent to Samson's mother. Right? And that his father, Manoah, ended up chasing down and talked to. The angel didn't give his name. Right? Just like in the time of Genesis chapter 18, when the three angels were sent to Abraham, right? We don't see any other names of the angels that were sent to Abraham. So all I can say is, who who's to say and remember again, we dealing with a transliteration, but does it really matter if their names are given or not? Evidently, y'all wanted us to know that Michael is the angel that stands for the children of Israel. All right, what's next? Okay, y'all.
She means Passover.
Okay, Yahuda, did Noah and Lot keep Passover? That's what we know you probably meant, Malaya, right? Noah after the flood and Lot before Sodom was destroyed. It is suggested in the scriptures, especially Lot, who ate unleavened bread. Okay, well again, we know there was no Passover before those two people, all right, because Passover hadn't even happened yet. Children of Israel hadn't even come on the scene yet, right? There was no Israel during the time. Well, you understand, it doesn't mention Lot anymore after the situation with his two daughters. Okay, we know that Noah wasn't alive, right? So again, it's people that eat unleavened bread. Just because they eat unleavened, some bread is not leavened. We got bread here that's not leavened. We keep all year round. We have all year round. You understand what I'm saying? And sometimes I eat a piece. Sometimes y'all eat some. My mother's got some downstairs. Sometimes she eats some. It ain't necessarily got to be Passover to eat unleavened bread.
Did Lot eat unleavened bread with the angels?
I don't know. I'm not even. You say that Lot ate unleavened bread. Does it actually say that, Malaya? Put it up on the screen. Let us know where it is, because I'm not necessarily acquainted with, but I know there hadn't been any Passover. You understand what I'm saying? Or Feast of Unleavened Bread hadn't even come on the scene yet. Like I said, it wasn't even in Israel then. What's next?
Before I go on, that book, one of those books you just named, I guess he wants to repeat.
Okay, could it repeat the name of the book again? Okay, that's Yokoya, that's America's Secret Establishment, Skull and Bones 322. Okay, America's Secret Establishment, like colon, Skull and Bones 322, and it's by Antony, Antony C, period, Sutton, Sutton. That's the author. Very good book. Like I said, it fills in some vital. Okay, Yahud, I see what you said about Michael being returned.
McCall.
Okay, McCall being returned to David because he never put her away. Okay, was he able to be intimate when she was another's wife, and is this in any way similar to what Adam did with Eve, going with a wife after another man had known her? Very well could have been, because it doesn't get into whether David ever had sex. I'll put it like this: it doesn't say that he never went into again, so I figure he had intercourse with her again, but Yah never opened up her womb. But it says in the book, Yah never gave her children because of this despisement that she had toward David when she saw him, being very celebratory before the Ark of the Covenant, in actuality before Yah, when they was bringing the Ark and Yah was coming up into Jerusalem. She disdained David when she saw him from the window, right? And she had this despisement for him. And that's why it says in the book, Yah closed up her womb. She never had a child. But I'm not doubting that David never had intercourse with her again. See, but you see, it's like Myrtle. It's like this. When it says in the book, and I'm pretty sure it was Solomon that said this, either in Proverbs or Ecclesiastes, one wicked person, can cause a lot of evil. He can, he or she can destroy a lot of good, in a sense. You know what I'm saying? One wicked person. See, and I say that in regards to Saul. Didn't Saul precipitate this because of his iniquity and his wickedness? Didn't he precipitate that? Her father, just like what we see with Laban, and Leah and Raquel. One wicked person can destroy much good. He or she can cause a lot of problems. See, that's why y'all say we got to put iniquity and wickedness away. And those who are prone to it, we got to, leave off from them too. Like I said in this last session, for all of you who heard it, all of you who will go back and listen to it, I talked about these people who I was associated with in the past, who, you understand, a couple of them were part of that, who were part of that organization that, and one who established it, but one particularly who I recall, who I basically referred to as the two-legged jackass, he was wicked. Still is wherever he is. That's what he's about. But back then he was sharper than a thorn's hedge. When I first met him, because he was educated, you understand, in this system, but he was also had become very subtle because he was educated, he was knowledgeable in the book. And he was sharper than a thorn's hedge. Okay? And finally, after a little over 10 years, about 10 years, I told him, you understand? He was coming over here one day, and I met him at the front of the door. I stepped right out on the front of the door. I told him, hey, man, don't come over here no more. I had to tell him, don't come over here anymore. You understand? 10 years of you is enough with you and your nonsense. Had to literally, basically, like, run him away from me. Just like when you read about Nehemiah, when he came back that second time in the book of Nehemiah, and he said, who was that? Tobiah came near him, who had brought, he had hooked up with this foreign woman and brought her father into the temple of Yah, had him set up in the temple of Yah. And what did Nehemiah say? When he came toward him, Nehemiah said he ran him away from him. I basically had to do that to this guy because he was trying to knock me off the path. Just like I said, when Yah says in Yeshaya chapter 59, that's, when I explained that here the other session, you understand? That's like what is going on with those of us who are on this path today. See, there's not a lot of people on this path, especially at this time. I keep saying this to different people who call, and some of them are weak to the extent where they want to be around others. They like, brother just said, young brother, he's 27, he just said this to me the other day. He like, well, Yehuda, he's called before, and he's in Virginia. He gonna know who it is when he hear this, if and when. And he said to me, well, see, Yehuda, you up there in Chicago, there's a whole lot of you up there. See, you got people who you around. I had to tell him, brother, I ain't around no whole lot of people here. It's just Yada, my mother, and myself. That's it. Now, you got, another brother that calls, you understand? I mentioned him on this last session. Him and his cousin called here a few weeks ago. And they called, and one of the cousins, I've been talking to him for about 5 years. He used to live on the west side of Chicago. About 3 years ago, he moved to the southern suburbs of Chicago. All right? When he hears this, he gonna know who I'm talking about. We've been talking 5 years, but we've never met. Not personally. Okay? He doesn't even call as much as he used to, but he's in the book. And his cousin that used to be in Detroit, who's now out on the West Coast, he started calling here. I've been talking to him now for about 2 to 3 years. Because at first, he wasn't about it. He was into the music game until he got so deep into it and actually went to New York and told me, didn't tell me, but told his cousin. His cousin told me he got there, you understand, and seen some of them guys who's high up in that music game and saw what they doing, and it scared him to death, and he left. Okay? He said, I ain't gonna be no part of that. You understand? Shook him up. And then he started talking more with his cousin about the Most High, and now he called. Like I said, he's been calling about a little over 2 years now. So they called here the other month. Last month they called. All right? And when they called, we said, hey, he said, yeah, man, cousin's on the line. I said, hey, man, what's that? That's the one, lives right outside Chicago. He said, hey, Yoda. I said, hey, man. So we was talking, and then they said, Yoda, we've been reading. We got a question we want to ask you. And the question was about Exodus chapter 6, verse 3. And soon as they said it, I knew what the problem was, okay? But I let them figure, they like, you know, it said that, you know, yeah, they didn't know y'all's name. And I immediately told them, I said, it's a question mark, not a period. So one of them said, huh, what? and I said, it's a question mark, supposed to be that, not a period. And then the cousin that I've been talking to for 5 years, he grabbed it quick. He said, oh, okay. But then the one out on the West Coast, now he like, what do you mean, Yoda? So I explained it to him, and he said, oh, okay. I said, yeah, Esau, when he translated the book, he took the question mark and made it a period. It puts a whole different complexion on Exodus chapter 6, verse 3. All right? Because it's like saying, the Most High said, but by my name Yah, I was not known unto them. See, that's when with the period there. You follow me? But now when the question mark was there, Yah is saying, but by my name Yah, was I not known unto them? See, whole different thing. This is the kind of stuff the Illuminated Edomite has done in this book. That's why I told you in this session that just played. When people bring to me about, you know, and I hear this one here in Chicago that I, you know, have mentioned about how he's saying Abraham is a fictional character because he couldn't exist because y'all not going to make a covenant with somebody that marries their sister. You follow me? But when you get into it, you understand it's implied that Abraham wasn't raised in the knowledge of Yah. Okay? That's what's implied. That's why y'all told him to get away from his kindred, because they wasn't about Yah. You understand? So he's like us. That's how I look at it. He was like us to the, you understand, basically the majority of us. We are roots out of what? Dry ground. We wasn't watered with the knowledge of Yah from birth, just like I said about Cyrus. What did Yah say in chapter 45, Yeshua, about Cyrus? Though he has not known me. Because Cyrus wasn't raised in the knowledge of Yah. He found out later on in his life that evidently he was written of in the volume of the book of Yeshua. He had been prophesied of. And when Yah had raised him up, you understand, and gave these nations into his hand, you will go there to Ezra chapter 1. Isn't that what he so states? Because now he's coming to understand. You see? But he wasn't raised in the knowledge of Yah. But nevertheless, I'm not taking it and I'm not believing that Abraham and Sarah had the same father. I'm not believing that. I look at that as some more Esau's nonsense. Because he's doing what he could to what? To take us away from this law, to keep us from finding Yah. When you go to the 83rd Psalm, isn't that what it says at the top of the 83rd Psalm? They was like pulling out all the stops. Let's cut Yah's hidden ones off forever. Let's deal craftily with them. Let's keep them cut off forever. That's their intent. Simple as that. That's why, again, 59th chapter Yeshaya, what did Yah say? He put on a helmet of salvation. Huh? He put on the breastplate of righteousness. And that helmet of salvation is the faith we've got to have. That's why that person, who's to say? He might have been an Edomite that called here the other week, telling me I'm the biggest fool in the world. You know, I'm crazy, I'm stupid. I say I don't believe nothing, but I got to believe because there's no way to, you know, substantiate and verify certain things. And he's right. And you understand? Because I can't substantiate and confirm that Abraham and Sarah didn't have the same father, but I just don't believe that. Now, and I don't care what anybody say. I put my faith in Yah yesterday, today, and forever. And like you heard me just say on this session, anybody that don't want to serve Yah, that's fine with me. It's fine with me. I cannot. I'm going to serve him until I die. Simple as that. Now, anybody who wants to go off and do whatever or keep on doing whatever, hey, knock yourself out. Simple as that. Do your thing. Because like I just said in regards to this Dagbo Adewale, right? And you know, you understand, he is a lawyer. He got all kind of degrees. He's a lawyer. Got a law degree and whatnot. Huh? Look how they're attacking him. And he don't even necessarily have to be an Israelite. He just look like one of us. But the deal is he defended one of us. Because like I said, I know in my heart, Mumia Abu-Jamal is an Israelite. That's why he's been locked up for 30 years on a crony charge. Really no evidence for it. Just like they just let a brother out. When you go to these Democracy Now! Shows that I just mentioned on the 4th, 5th, and 6th, one of them you're going to see this brother. He just got out of prison. He was a Black Panther. He been locked up. He was locked up almost, what was it, 30 years. I think it was 40 years. Okay? He just missed being locked up for 40 years by like a few days. Okay? They didn't have him locked up since back in like 74. He been locked up on some erroneous charge. And he did time in the service. I mean, he was a sergeant in the military. Been over to Germany. He gonna tell you about it. When you pull up that Democracy Now! Show, he gonna run it down. You see? Sitting there with his lawyer. His name is Marshall. What is it? I think Eddie Marshall. Okay? Check it out. See? And now he's 60-something years old. He been locked up for almost 40 years. And they just let him out. And he was locked up on an erroneous charge. How many brothers and sisters locked up like that? And a whole lot of brothers. Didn't y'all say this in Yeshaya chapter 42? We hid in prison houses. See, it's too much substantiation and confirmation to this book. It's an overwhelming amount. You understand? On the substantiation and confirmation of this book. Than them few little things that people look for to try to discredit the word of Yah. You follow what I'm saying? That's a tiny, minute amount of things. So, hey, you want to take that and, like I have said in past a couple times to Yada, you know, I don't think I've ever said it. It's a brother years ago. I've been knowing for years, all the way back since the late 60s. Okay? And I remember years later, after I got into the book, because I knew his wife, you understand, before I knew him. And then I met him a little bit later on, and we all know each other, but I don't see him hardly, But I remember this is back in like the early 80s. And I was over their house. And I remember he was like, because his wife used to be hooked up with Ben-Ami and them. Okay? That's who she used to be hooked up with. Right? But she never went to the land. She was hooked up with him over here. And that's another story. But, you understand? She ended up leaving away from them and married him. All right? So, I remember I was over their house, and we was talking, and I remember he said to me, he said, I picked up the Bible. He said, but when I got there, I started reading Genesis, and when I got to the place where it said, he talked about Genesis chapter 3, right? It said that Adam and Eve heard God's voice walking in the garden. He said, how can anybody's voice be walking in the garden? He said he took the book and threw it over in the corner. He hadn't picked it up since. See, that's all it took to knock the slats out of him. That was all it took to knock him off the path. You see what I'm saying? Now you got some others, you understand? It took a little more to knock them off the path. You got some others that took a little more still to knock them off the path. But I'm going to tell you here now, for all you who's listening to this now, and all you who will hear this in the future, ain't nothing knocking me off this path. Now, just keep focused and keep watching and see if that happens. Simple as that. You understand? Ain't nothing knocking me off this path. It's people that have brought to me, well, if you this governor, the way it reads in Micah chapter 5, you're going to get killed when these Assyrians come into the land, because you're going to get smited. You're going to get killed. And I'm like, well, if that's the time for my card to be pulled and me to go the way of all the earth, then that's just when I'm going to get killed. Now, I know I got to die one day. That don't scare me. Now, what's next? Okay, Stansberry and Association are predicting a banking collapse on July 1st, 2014 due to Bill H.R. 2847. Well, it could happen. I mean, it's collapsing every day. Don't we see this? Those of us who got some sight, those of us who got some light, don't we see this? is collapsing every day. And it's just a matter of time. You understand? Like I said to some that call, and I'm pretty sure I've said on this last session, possibly in sessions before, I watch all these economists, many, not all, but a lot. I watch a lot of them, okay? And they all are in agreement. They all say the same thing, going to collapse. They just don't know when. But they all say that it's close, very close. It all depends on, you understand, the way I look at it, when y'all's ready for it to collapse. Okay? Because as I said in the past, not real long ago, you understand, I heard a while back, I listen to different things, read different things, y'all know that. The Illuminati Edomite, they plan was to collapse this thing back, totally collapse it like around 07. Okay? But they held off. And I look at that was Yah. Because he's given, matter of fact, I even heard that they was talking about collapsing it back in the late 90s. Like 90s, I think it was 97, 98. They was talking about collapsing the whole thing. But again, if that had happened then, you understand, many of us that Yah has allowed to do what? Transfer, you understand, economic substance that he's allowed us to acquire. We wouldn't have been ready. Huh? Different ones of you right now who in this room, you understand? Just like the person just put up there on the screen asking, where can they go to get silver and gold? You follow what I'm saying? You've had a chance now, over the last 10, 12 years, you've had a chance to do what? You've had a chance to move the bulk of your savings, if not all per se, right, into hard currency. You've been able to get silver and gold. Maybe even some platinum, who knows? You understand what I'm saying? But definitely some silver. Not only that, at these low prices, because Esau's been trying to run people out of, you understand, getting silver and getting gold. What has he been doing? He's been printing these electronic paper, you understand, paper silver and paper gold contracts. You understand? Because J.P. Morgan Chase, you understand, from what I understand, they got about $50 billion of silver contracts out here that they can't cover in the least. Ain't no way they got 50 billion, you understand, dollars worth of silver. The physical. There's no way they can cover it. You follow me? See? And they got gold contracts out here the same way. Many of you, if not all of you, just here this past year, you heard about Germany, right? Wanting their gold from America. What America tell them? You understand? We'll give it to you in 7 years, okay? We'll give it to you in 2020. But you can't get it now. I think they gave them a little smidget. You understand? Germany's supposed to have like 1,500 tons of gold over here. Okay? 1,500 tons. I think America gave them maybe about 3 tons. Okay? That's all you can get. You get the rest in 2020. Now, what's that tell you? Huh? See? But Yah has allowed different ones of us, you follow what I'm saying, to move whatever, if we had 5,000, 2,000, 50,000, $100,000 of paper and move to do what? Buy some silver, buy some gold. And now we got the hard currency, you see? And I hope you wise enough not to put it in any safe deposit box or any bank. Because if you do that, they're going to confiscate it when they collapse this banking situation. Just like they did in Cyprus, just like they've done in Greece and other places. What's next? Okay, 2 different fathers of children in one womb at the same time is called superfecundation. Superfecundation. Okay, if you say so. Okay. I mean, I've never seen the word that I could remember. I got a magazine with a picture of a sister and an older brother, like I've said in the past. This happened with them. She was carrying 2 children. One of this older brother who she married, and another younger brother who she had intercourse with when her and the older brother, was going together before they got married. She had sex with them both. She became impregnated by both, and she had 2 children that she was carrying by both of them, one of each one in her womb at the same time. And they got a picture of the 2 boys, and they don't look anything alike at all. Now, and in the article they say it's like about 800 known cases of this. All right, known cases. Okay. And if they're not including the situation with Adam and Eve, that's 801. All right. Judges 13:18 says it is a secret.
The name of the angel.
Okay. But again, like I said, when you read this book, understand the time. When he was asked what his name, he didn't tell him. Okay. And that's here in Judges 13:18.
In the concordance, it has definite, another word is got wonderful for secret.
Right, and again, in the concordance, Yada's saying in her book, it's got wonderful, but I won't necessarily go with that definition. I'll go with what they got here in the book, because I can't see him, my name is wonderful. You understand what I mean? In response to what was asked him. I'll agree with you that he's saying, and what is his is for real. He said his name was a secret, but that's for this situation. Okay? Because he was asked, he said it's a secret. He wasn't telling it. You understand? But again, over there in Daniel didn't ask his name. He was told what this one angel's name was. And again, we see Gabriel, right? So again, you know what I mean? Y'all revealed it. See? Because again, this person here in Judges 13, right? You understand? Was this person, would you understand? Okay, then this is in the situation with Samson, right? Samson's father and mother, right? Now, again, we know Manoah, right? He didn't have the illumination that Yah gave Daniel. Because when we go to Ezekiel chapter 28, you understand? And Yah is talking about the king of Tyre, and basically the Tyrians who were Hittites, right? And what did he say? They were wiser than Daniel. At least these kings were. They were wiser than Daniel. You follow what I'm saying? So Yah, he talks about Daniel and how wise and how much knowledge, how much illumination that Yah had given Daniel. And he's saying that these kings of Tyre was even wiser than Daniel. You understand? They knew more than he did. At least definitely Hiram, but you understand Ezekiel 28, that's basically who it's talking about. Is Hiram, because now it's talking about at the dedication of the first temple that Hiram, as I said in the past, helped build. Him and the Tyrians who were Hittites, the so-called Phoenicians, they helped build that first temple. See? And at that time, during the time of Solomon, as I said in the past, you go to 1 Kings chapter 10, Solomon and Hiram sent their men out in a combined a voyage, different times, sending them out. They was going all over the world. They'd be gone 3 years, and then they'd come back with all different kind of animals that were foreign to that particular area, right? That environment. Coming back with gold, coming back with silver, coming back with copper, coming back with iron. All different kind of stuff they was coming back with. So they going all over the world on these ships, because they had the knowledge, the Phoenicians, the Hittites, these Tyrians, to navigate these waters. So that's why they had this wisdom that they had. And Yah is making the statement they were wiser than Daniel. That's pretty wise, isn't it? You follow me? So you can't rank Manoah up there with Daniel and them. You see what I'm saying? So possibly Yah wasn't going to give Manoah that kind of information. You understand? In other words, don't worry about what my name is. Just do what I tell you. You understand? What's next?
I don't know if you deal with this about the lot and the unleavened bread, but she thought maybe it represented future event. Did you deal with that?
Okay, again, this Genesis 19 verse 3 talks about unleavened bread. Lot 8, I know it wouldn't be called Passover at that time, but I thought it may have represented future events. Well, again, that's a thought, but it doesn't say anything concrete. We know Israel, we know Passover, none of that had taken out. Israel wasn't even in existence yet. What's next?
I think that's it. That's it.
Okay, so you know, it's a blessing, and it's gratifying to me. I hope it's helping all of you who hear this, and all of you who will. And again, this goes out to everybody, whether you Israelite, Gentile, Hamite, or Shemite, even Edomite. Because again, as I said on the session, I don't hate Edomites. I understand them. And as long as the Edomite is not, you understand, claiming that they Israel, I ain't got no problem with them. You know, if they want to serve Yah, fine. Come on, serve Yah the best of your ability. You dig what I'm saying? Make a place for their seed, because that's what they can do. Their seed, their children. You understand? Because Yah not going to wipe out all Esau. He going to wipe out them Amalekites, though. Huh? That's already in stone. That you understand? Yah said that back there in 1 Samuel, didn't he? See what I'm saying? Because ain't no way you looking at Exodus chapter 17. Ain't no way you can fight Yah from generation to generation and it come of any good. That's why again, these people who come with all the nonsense they come with, taking the satanic stance against this message, against this movement, against me and anybody else carrying this message, it means nothing to me. I'm glad when they make themselves known. You follow what I'm saying? Because again, that cuts to the chase. All right? Cuts to the chase. In other words, you follow me? Now I know they heart. And that's all I want. I want to know their heart. See? Like I just said on this last session, there's different ones who I've known over the years, 30, 40, 50 years, and different ones, they want to see me die. See? And they don't realize when they say certain things to me and have done certain things over the years to me, you follow what I'm saying? And I have done nothing to them but be a friend. And that's been exhibited time and time again through the years. And then they've taken an adversarial stance against me because I've turned to Yah with all my heart and all my soul, who they care nothing about. But they intimate to me that they want to see something happen to me. And I'm glad when they do that, because again, it just lets me know their heart. It makes themselves known unto me. And some of them don't even realize that I've seen them. You follow what I'm saying? Because again, I apply this law and these precepts, to everything. I apply it to myself. I apply it to everybody and everything else. And Yah directs my path. And just like, and I think I've touched on this before. When you read what Solomon says, he was looking out of the casement of his window at the simple ones. He was applying the law to them. And he could see them. You follow me? He could get a bead on them. See, people don't realize that they reveal themselves to you because, you understand, they can't see. And when you learn how to wield this law, how to apply it, you follow me? And Yah gives one the ability to use the law, you understand? And you'll learn how to wield it. You know how to use it like a sword, in a sense, huh? You learn how to apply it to everything and everybody because you're applying it to yourself. People reveal themselves to you. And a lot of times, most times, they don't even know that they've been revealed and that you see through them like a pane of glass. So, again, it's my pleasure and it's a blessing to be able to do this. I don't take it for granted any kind of way, and I hope none of you do. Okay? So, with that, for Yah righteousness, Jerusalem, and the Holy See, Yah bless everyone. Peace.